Alright, so we got this, which was fan art from Baji. Did I ever told you the definition of... I know English isn't your first language, so I'm not going to critique you on that. Proportions at this point. The face, if you want it to be turned completely to the side, make sure that you're really watching that. But for a little bit more dynamic of a pose, maybe not have her completely to the side, but a little bit more like this. Have her head cocked to the side. Insanity. Ah, there's no S in it. You've got a good idea, though. You're definitely working on your proportions. You're definitely trying to see what you can do with poses as well. And I like what you're trying to do. Just make it a little bit more dynamic. Really get in the mirror and pose yourself like this and be like, huh, how can I do this? How is it going to make her look really insane or look like she's going to be like, ooh, gun to the head? You know, like, get in the mirror. I'm serious. I know it seems really weird, but get in the mirror and try to make these poses and then draw back at what you see. And if you can... no, it's okay, it's okay. Baji, guys, don't be too hard on Baji. English is not his, first language. So, okay, he did his best. Really think about that with those proportions, and I think you'll really start nailing that a little bit more. If you can, look up, references as well of people posing. There's actually a lot of them all over the internet. I would recommend probably looking on DeviantArt. They usually have decent ones there. Otherwise, you're gonna get, well, okay, even DeviantArt has a bunch of really weird, like, porn poses. It's kind of awkward. So just warning you there. But, you know, trying to see if you can find, got some that I'd like to post, but her boobs are, and I quote, gravity-defying. As long as it's not, like, porn, anything inappropriate overall. Like, if it's boobs, it's boobs. Like, it's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? But yeah, I like where you're trying to go, Baji. It's a really good thing, and I really did like that fan art, so thank you, sweetheart. Rats! I like what you're trying to do here. You're trying to definitely do something different with this character. I want to actually see, because it looks like one half of him, and only this half that's up front, is a different type, and then the other half is that dragon half, but it looks like he's got different wings on the other side. Maybe try to mix that up a little bit more on your character. Give him a couple different things if he's supposed to be kind of like a chimera-ish dragon. Throw some different elements in there and all over, not just on the front that we see so that the back is like normal. Put that all over the character. That's what I'd really love to see. And then try to turn him a little bit more so that you can get, I mean, this is a profile and obviously you're trying to get an idea for the character. Now I want to see you turn it a little bit, add some of those extra details, and really start pushing this character. Is he crazy? Is he nice? Is he silly? Try to push that with his expression. That's what I want to see with this. You've got a cool idea, though. Rocks! Ooh, I like the eye. I like the patch, and I like the hair that you're trying to do for sure. Her name is, I'm gonna mess it up, Regalia? Regalia? What's up, Baka Baka Doodles? Hi! Okay. So for this one, I'd really recommend careful about how big the eye is. It does look cool, but it's a little too big in proportion to her face. The patch does cover a good portion, but I would still draw out on the face where the eye would be. And both eyes would be. Make sure you mark everything out, do the lines and stuff like that. Pay attention to where the ears sit on the head, the lips, everything else. You're really close in proportion to that. You're just a little bit off because where this eye ends here is a little too close inside to her nose. So if the other one was there, it'd be like really, really close and you'd have really two big eyes that are super close to each other. They look a little squished. The patch currently covers that, but if you really think about it, it's a little outside of proportion. The hair, I like what you're trying to do with the clumping of it, because technically when you see hair, like, you're not seeing every single strand, right? So I'm glad that you didn't try to draw every single strand, but still try to mix that up a little bit. Look at how hair is. Cut it into a couple different proportions, and then really try to frame that to the face and how it would sit. Like the hair on her shoulders. See how mine's sitting on my shoulder right now? That's what you're gonna see like that. So try really making sure that it follows with her head and stuff like that. I think that's really gonna give a little bit more weight added to her hair rather than it's kind of floating up right now. I think that'll really help add to it. Kumo and the buff dude. Is this Kumo as human? Because I like it. That looks like human Kumo. I'm loving the details. I love that you've looked at some references and ideas for the clothing. I really like that. I like that it's different. God, he's tall, 7 feet. Holy crap. I love the muscles that you used actually to incorporate with the underarm, because if you guys notice the underarm right here, it actually does connect into like the lower part of your like boob muscle. So that's really cool to see that. I like how you did that with the arm and the hand. You've got some good proportions there. I'd have to say the biggest issue that I have is with your knees and your feet, and trust me, I have this issue too. Look a little bit more into that. I want to see, like, if this guy's as big as he is, he's got really big legs, and those pants look too loose along with how the boots kind of fit to him. I think that's where it is. Everything in this top portion here, I really love. Down here, we're getting a little lax on that. Look into the clothing section. Try to see how that would fit on somebody who's that freaking muscular and that big of a guy, and then try to really work with that. Maybe even give him looser pants if that's what you're gonna do, so that they kind of like sag down to here a little bit. I don't know. Play with some of that that design, and I think it'd really help enhance your character a lot more. Honestly, though, you're doing a really awesome job. I know you've been working really hard on that. That's pretty fucking awesome, dude. Ooh, Syndra. Alright, Syndra, looks like, again, you're looking at something which is good for definitely starting off. It's kind of small and the cropping's a little awkward, so that's the first thing. Your feet are a little on the odd side. I know you're trying to do this proportion side, though, and that's hard to do. Best thing that I can help you with here is try actually, what I would say is draw an initial box of how you want your proportions to kind of line up. So you got your box here, and then you've got like the bottom part where they're going to be standing, right? So try drawing that in proportion to the area that you're going to be doing. I'd have to actually extend this up higher, and then draw your person inside the box, okay? And then just try to think of that, and if you need to, grid it out too. Sometimes I have to do this just to really think about what it is I'm doing and how I'm going to make it happen. But once I have that and I kind of like give pinpoints in between, I can actually start figuring out where everything is supposed to be in space in proportion to that. You know what I mean? So I know that's kind of hard to do, and it's a very higher level of thinking when you're doing this kind of art. But if you can try doing that, it might really help. Look at proportions. Look at clothing. See, you've got a good idea though. Same with the hair. The hair, you've got a little bit too stringy right now. Try clumping a little bit more together and really smoothing that out. And adding a little bit more to it. Everything's feeling really flat on the coloring end right now, which sometimes is fine, but you can really push that in cartoons, even with very simple shading. Look at bone structure. Look at how light is on hair, on even in cartoons, and how they shade it. I would really recommend actually Avatar and how they do the shading with that. Really, really good stuff, because they very, very like simply put where each shade is, and it really enhances the character's proportions like tenfold. So keep working on that. You've got a good idea. You got stuck. Okay. Try again, looking at how the proportions of the face are with the mouth and stuff like that, figuring out where your mouth is supposed to be in proportion to where her head is. It's a lot of that line work, but if you look at how faces are, it's kind of like this. Okay, I'm going to do this really quick, but try to follow the shape of the head, right? You've kind of got like this half, like the circle that you cut a half of it off right here, right? So let's say... Okay, so your eyes are gonna go through here. This is all equal proportions here, and then you usually have an equal distance in between here as well. Now that's kind of weird, but let me show you, okay? However you draw your eyes, whatever kind of detail you're looking at there. Nose is usually about mid-between here. Mouth. And this is kind of bad. I would have to work on the proportions a little bit, but look, the eye and the ear line up here. Usually you've got about your nose here-ish, and then your mouth comes in and is equal distant, but it's always, and then your hairline starts right about here. It's usually about equal distance. Now granted, you can't change this to make more dynamic characters, but this is usually just the easy way to kind of get faces started, okay? Look at lots and lots and lots of people's faces, how they are, put lines over top of these actual people's faces and figure out where everything is in proportion to each other, and then you can start making some interesting faces and characters based upon that. Like if you want their eyebrows to be lower, you know, they're gonna be way down here. It's gonna give them like this big brow kind of person, and then this big jaw, and maybe he has a short jaw too in comparison. You know, and look at, like, that already gave us a really different character, right? You know, we can give him a bigger nose. Stuff like that. So that's where you start getting a little creative and you start thinking about where everything lines up on a person's face and how that changes their characteristics, okay? Okay. What program is that? Luca, this is Photoshop CS6. Thank you, Moobot, for actually saying that already. Hi, Hardos. Okay, we got a fish. Totally not Cavi. Cavi, you did such a good job. I'm so proud of you that it's not a stick figure. Look at how a fish is. I don't think you'd actually see that other eye. I'm not entirely sure, though. I would actually have to look it up. It looks like it's a koi fish, though. Watch koi fish. Luckily, they're really simple in shape, but you can really, like, draw out and figure out each and every shape of it, like the base body, the fin, and how that would move, right? Same with each fin and stuff like that. Make simple, basic shapes for them, and then figure out how it would work in, like, you know, in a video game and stuff like that. How you would see it in 3D, right? So, like, really just basic shapes, basic shapes, basic shapes. And you can be super sketchy and flowy with it too, right? But, like, you know the base of the fin goes here, but you want it to turn this way. So the top of that's gonna kind of sink in and go this way, but then you know that you're gonna see the other half of it over here, etc. And then just think about where that eye is in comparison. Do simple details. Kind of like that. If that makes sense, you know what I mean? Simple shapes, break everything down as much as you can so that you can really play with those basic shapes and figure out how you want them to be in space. So, again, guys, if you want to critique, I am doing critique in the critique corner. You guys are welcome to chit-chat if you'd like. I'm just not doing that right now so that I can keep calm, clean, so that I can talk to people. But I am using the critique corner to give you guys some critique on work if you would like. Just jump on my Discord server, come hang out, let me know what's going on, okay? And I'll keep looking on it. Need to plan things and set a base before just drawing. Which, I mean, you're practicing right now. It's okay. You don't always have to set a base if you're just wanting to draw and figure stuff out. You just draw as you go down. That's not always a bad thing to do. You know, you just gotta, if you want to keep thinking about stuff, usually making some kind of a base, I've found usually helps me. Doesn't always help people, but, you know, for me and for many other people that I do know, it's very helpful. Okay, we got another one from Kumo. Kumo, I like the gun on this. I like how you have each of the details and stuff. Looks like you probably got some good references for that, which is awesome. I'm loving the details on the jacket and everything. The hand feels a little off. It looks like his knuckles, like, look at my hand and how you're holding your hand up like that, right? The knuckles don't really move out like that. They usually go up and around. So that feels a little off there. I'd want to really, like, help you work on the shape of that. His face, too, feels a little odd. I think it's because I'm missing the details of his nose, and I want to see more of that. Because this guy, he's very defined in everything else. He's got his hair is really defined, his face is very defined. He has a very distinct characteristic to him, and I want to see more in that nose too. More in his nose, maybe a little bit more around his eyes and stuff like that. Because, I mean, you're already working on that right now. He's got a very distinct mouth, the hairs on his nose, his eyebrows, everything else too. Very, very distinct. Work with that more, because now he's feeling like half between like a chibi, where he doesn't quite have his nose, and like a little bit more on his chin and stuff like that. So I think that's where I'm missing the detail there, and I'd want to see more on that. Everything else looking really solid. Keep working on those details for sure. I'm missing some. Whoa, okay. You. All right. I really like this, other than I have to turn it. But I'm really liking the subtle details. I like how you're trying to be very soft with your lines, and I get what you're trying to do here. You're trying to be minimalistic and everything, and it looks really good because everything really works together on how you're trying to keep it minimal, right? So that being said, I still want to see just a little bit more detail and definition in her body overall. I think you could really work with what the curve is of her body. And that, what I mean is, let's see if I can play with this a little bit here. Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to do a quick bread line. But basically what we would do in this case is working on when you're doing your base set of drawing. Think about where you just want her head to move, and then think about the body's motion, right? And then try to enhance that just a little bit more. So you've got her face right here, neck, but then I want to see like basically her body details and the movement of her body really helping to use this very minimalistic detail, right? Okay, so your proportions are pretty close. You're trying to keep her kind of lengthy, I think, because you've got her arms that are long, her legs that are long. Everything about her is very long, and I think that's meant to be. It looks good in this, personally. So just give her body proportion just a little bit more. Push that just a little bit more. Think about how much more you can really make that movement kind of work with what you're trying to do here. And I think you'd have a really, really solid piece. Now granted, I'm sketching through this as quick as I can so I can get to everybody's stuff, but I hope you get the gist of what I'm trying to portray here. Like, you're really close on that. I love the hand too that you're trying to get the details out of it and the movement out of it. Like, you're really close on this one. Same with the butterfly. Try changing its proportions a little bit. I know that's really hard, especially with butterfly wings, but like, turn it. Try to turn it just a little bit. Think about those very basic shapes and stuff like that, right? Hope you're doing well. Lady Bolin, I'm doing great, sweetheart. Thank you again so much. Guys, Lady Bolin, if you don't know who she is, really quick, I'm taking a quick detour, okay? Lady Bolin gave me my Topaz Carbuncle plushie, okay? So she's really awesome, and she's also a cosplayer, so if you could go check her out, please do, okay? She's really, really sweet. She totally contacted me for no reason and gave me that fucking plushie, and I'm just like, I'm dying, okay? So, anyways. Movement. Follow some movement. Get that movement in. So anyways, that's the gist of it there. That's where I'm just redlining over top of this, and I hope you understand that. You have a really good concept, though. You're really close on that. Keep trying to push that, sweetheart. Push those curves a little bit more. Try to really push that movement that you have going on. Because like I said, all of it's so close. You've got the hair that almost flows right with it, too. Like, see what you did there? You're really close on that idea, and I really, really like it. Movement. So, alright. Going back to critique corner. Rixie! Okay, so for Rixian, Um, Rixie, I've always loved your simplistic style. I know that you really like trying to work with this super, like, it's always, I call it always a flash drawing because that's what I always see. I know you draw in flash too, but I've known that since the beginning, like even if you didn't tell me, because of how the line thickness works. And I think that's probably what bugs me the most, is that I love the line thickness that it does, but it doesn't put it in the places that I want to see it. I want you to mess with this because I know you know line thickness. I know that when stuff is closer, if you want to do these really cool things, I know you can do this, and I know you can do this really good, okay? Here's what I want to see from you, dude. I want to see these really big, thick lines up close, okay? That's what I want to see. I want to see these, like, big, thick lines up close. Maybe a little bit sketchier as they're closer in, and then they get thinner as you go out. Now again, I'm doing this really quick just to give you a very basic idea. But I think you would be super pro, and that's going to push your drawings a hell of a lot more, okay? You have such a cool and interesting, simplistic style. I think just pushing your line art right now is really going to enhance that. That's what I want to see from you, dude. Instead of just using Flash to do this, because Flash is all over the place. Flash just does the line thickness where it wants to. I've never been able to control it properly, and I don't officially like it all the time. It's fun for doing animations and stuff like that, but if you're gonna do drawings like this, please push that line art, baby. You're so close on that, and just seeing you push that a little bit more is gonna make it look so good. So good. Work on that line art. Please, 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 please work on that line art. Farazard! Ooh, we got a little jester dude. I like it. Arm right here, really broken though. Body proportions, I can see you're definitely trying to work on it. Keep working on that. Really look at how and where
for great science
the arm and where the joint runs in and how you do that. Because you're currently your forearm and your, or actually I'm bad at words, okay? I'm sorry about that. So this area right here and this area right here on that arm alone is way too long. You can, however, and I found this one out, this is actually a really cool little detail, guys, that I was trying to practice with, and maybe it'll come in handy for you too. But basically, draw, kind of like figure out where you want your face to be, and then where you want your hands to be. Just do something really quick. And from there, you can actually connect how they go to the body. So figure out where your body's gonna be, right? And then go for like your base length, and then look, you can just kind of connect it where it needs to go. So you go, okay, so this elbow needs to kind of go here, and you can keep moving those. So you don't have to move the hands. All you need to do is move your arms where they need to be, unless the arm's like way too far out where your hand's just not gonna reach to it, right? But do that. Just kind of figure out exactly where you want your hands to be so that you get the idea, because hands talk. Like, I'm talking with my hands right now, okay? So try drawing your hands out where you want them to be, and then trying to make sure that your proportions are still acknowledged once you have your hands figured out and where you want them to be. So I know right here, obviously you're trying to get that thing of, you're trying to do kind of like a bow. Kind of like this going on, right? And I can't do it very well because you guys can't see the camera very well here. But I get what you're trying to do. Keep that hand there. Just fix the arm in proportions, okay? Same with the leg, the back leg. See how long this is right here? And then you've got like a really short leg right here. Just be careful of that. Try to figure out in space. Break these down into simple proportions. Very simple cylinders just for each to figure out how long each one needs to be. And then draw it in space as much as you possibly can. Try to turn it and do what you can, because currently this leg looks too long. This leg is like long right here, too short here. You're just a little wonky on your proportions. Keep working on it. You've got a good idea, okay? Quentin, another one. Okay, this one again. Your face is a little too wide. I know what you're trying to do with the hair, but again, you need to make sure that you're plotting out how wide your face is gonna be, and then figure out how the hair is gonna sit on top of that, okay? Thank you so much for your fizz on stream. I'll make a Steam account soon. Okay, no problem, Blood. The shades are also, try not being too blocky and too dark with your shades all the time. See where you can actually make some, like, you can be blocky with it. That's totally okay. You can totally make it blocky and everything, but try making some lighter and some darker. Like this area on the back of her jacket, make that one darker, but the one on her neck, make that one lighter. That'll help push your proportions a little bit more and not make it so flat.
For great
Okay.
science.
Yeah, just keeping with your proportions. I like what you're trying to do with the jacket. Keep looking at different jackets and stuff like that. See how they actually sit on a person. You got a good idea there. Keep working on it. Baka baka doodles. Mew, if you go to Discord and then join in Critique Corner, it's right here, or I can just do an instant invite. Here we go. Copy. There. Go to that. That'll take you instantly to Critique Corner, and you guys can check that out, okay? Who is this? Baka Baka Doodles. Okay. I think you're trying to go for chibi here. Very simplistic, very cute. Which that's good. What you want to try to do here, I think, is clean up your line art a little bit or clean up your coloring a little bit. Like, I see these very simplistic stuff and I like the kind of painting detail that you're trying to do here, but some of this little spotted stuff is a little confusing. I'm not quite sure what's trying to happen here. Think about where your shades and stuff are still going to come in so that you can still do that, because currently you just have like the under ears of his ears painted. It looks like the shade's trying to come down a little bit, but like back here the shades aren't really conforming to that. I'm a little confused on that overall, so everything feels a little too flat, and I think you can enhance it just a little bit more just by that. Clean up your proportions just a little. Really think about everything, because even on something like as fuzzy as Nar, you can really push this. Okay, so we're gonna, oops, delete that background and turn this white because I messed up. It was just a doodle. No, that's okay. I'm just trying to give you an idea, okay? So even on Nar, even for doodles and stuff like that, like you can really plot out everything, even their fuzziness. Like you draw out the cheeks, draw out the circle of the face, you draw out where the nose is kind of gonna be. You can draw the cute little eyes and stuff like that. How you're trying to do it. Simple shapes. Simple shapes. Draw out where his muzzle's supposed to be, but obviously he's chewing on the bomb. Break everything down to simple shapes. Like, that's going to be my biggest critique for most of you guys, is breaking stuff down into simple shapes so that you can add detail on top of that, okay? And then you can do everything from there. This will also help you with shading, because then you got an idea of like, oh, hey, so his cheekbones are supposed to be right here. And like his eyes are right here and his eyebrows are like here-ish. So that means like if the light's going to be coming from up top, so the shade's going to be under here. The shade's gonna be under here. I'm gonna get a little bit under his cheek side here, and a little bit under his nose, maybe. You know, like, it's gonna be very simple and stuff like that, okay? And you can keep it simple if that's really what you're trying to aim for. I'm not trying to tell you to do, like, perfect, oh my god, realistic shades and stuff like that. Just get an idea, you know what I mean? Period! I saw this earlier today. I did favorite it. I just wasn't able to give you critique for it. Mostly right here is you're trying to look down on something, but your background doesn't quite fit with it. I understand what you're trying to do, though. This is, again, another thing where I would say draw a box. Figure out where your camera... Why I say draw a box is figuring out where your camera's supposed to be. A lot of this, when I took the 3D animation, it helped me with a lot of my proportions. Kind of. I still mess up on it, though, to be really honest with you. If you guys can actually figure out how to run, like, Blender's a free 3D program, and if you can figure out just the basics of that, so you can, like, literally draw, like, put a plane down and then put, like, circles and stuff where you need it to be, you can actually put your camera where you want it to and use that as your own reference. Oh my god, it's really nice. I need to be able to practice with Blender too, though. I haven't used Maya in so long now. I'm really angry at myself, though. So draw a box. Draw a box. Draw a box. Like down here is where you want your plane to be and stuff like that. Figure out where your plane is supposed to be. That is so bad. I messed that up. You know, if you want this to be your plane, this is going to be area down here. There we go. That's a little bit better. It's not perfect, but just try to give yourself an idea. You know what I mean? So you would have your cliff out yonder, and you're looking down at that cliff. That means that, like, Tristana, you're not going to see as much of the front of her face as you're going to see, like, the top of her face. Or the top of her head, I should say. So, and you can still really play with this, too. And that's where you start pushing your proportions and stuff too. Again, this is really high level thinking. It's really hard to kind of start doing this. I even still have a lot of issues with this. So try working on your proportions in general first, thinking about those basic shapes, and then start turning the camera when you start understanding that, you know what I mean? Like, okay, I know that this circle goes here, but if it's below this other circle that I have for the body, then that's gonna be smaller, and hey, look, I can actually put this into proportion now, you know what I mean? I can put this into space where my camera's at. That'll start making more sense to you via that. And it's really high level thinking, it's tough. Work on your basic proportions, work on everything else first before you start moving forward into the rest of that, okay? Shuriken! Okay, I'd say your biggest thing here is, you need to work on your shading, and you need to work on your background in general. I get what you're trying to do, you're trying to make it minimalistic, but it looks like you just used one spot brush, you kind of just put it all over the place. Trees can actually look like that, though. I've actually scribbled a lot of trees together, and they do look like that. You just gotta give it a little bit more definition. Really look at, like, literally what I'll do is I'll be like, okay, I need a picture of a tree. So I go to Google search, and I go, tree. And then I'm like, ooh, I like the shape of this tree. So I'll try to redraw that back out. Literally, I'll be like, okay, so I'm gonna copy this image so that you can see it, guys. They're like, okay, that's a nice looking tree. Look at that motherfucking tree. I like this tree. So now we're gonna try to, like, draw this tree. But look at how it's got, like, the blocks of the dark in it, right? See those blockings of dark in there? You don't have to be super awesome in the details of it. Try to get the base out, right? So you got the base of the tree. Try to think about where the branches are gonna go. Okay. They don't have to be perfect. You don't have to do much about it. And then just kind of block out where you know, okay, so you know that the, you know, the light's coming from the top a little bit to the left here, left of me. So I'm gonna try to block out some of these darker shaded areas, and you don't have to do much. You don't have to do much. Especially if it's going to be in the background, you're not going to see much of that detail. Doesn't matter. It don't matter. Block out some dark areas. You go back in and kind of bring out some of the highlights on those branches too. Use a couple different shades in between there, but mostly just block out where your black light, your darker light, your really, really hard light's going to be. And then you can go in and kind of clean up and shade, make those lighter areas a little bit more. What's up, Waffle Bro Lover? Welcome everyone to the stream, by the way. I hope you guys are enjoying the critique so far. I'm just trying to give you guys some critique, trying to help out a little bit. Guess I'm not gonna get to my work today, but I can do that a little bit later. So I'll take what I can right now, trying to help out with critiques and stuff like that, and then we'll come back later to my work, and I gotta get some, like I said, I gotta get some of my stuff done. But okay. Like I said, you don't have to go crazy. Look it already, like it looks a little bit more like a tree, right? Yes, doing shading first and then doing highlight afterwards is really great for trees. Mocha definitely worded that a lot better for me, so thank you. Definitely work on your dark areas first. Hi, Mocha. Work on your dark areas first and then erase into it. Guys, remember your eraser can actually be a tool to draw with, okay? Don't be afraid of the eraser. The eraser isn't just to make lines look pretty. It's actually there to really kind of put stuff in and out. And guess what? You don't have to start everything in color either. You can actually do black and white, because I'm going to show you guys a little trick here, okay? Watch this. Watch this. Are you ready? We can color our lines, or we can set it to multiply, okay? Now, usually the multiply can be a little tough because then you can't color your lines afterwards. I would highly recommend coloring your lines a little bit more. It's a nicer, easier way to do this kind of stuff. But we can basically, alright, so put another layer. I accidentally did this wrong, so we're gonna pull a color from it. Alright, so blah, 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 blah. Woo! Green color, yay! Now here's the thing. We're gonna lock this layer. Alright, so we locked it. We're gonna get darker color from here. Alright, cool. Then we're gonna color it. Ooh! Look at the colors! Look at that! Now you got your dark colors, and then you can draw even inside of that. And be like, okay, so I really want this to kind of be a little bit darker in here, right? And then, ooh, I'm gonna go back here, lock this layer. We're gonna really kind of put this lighter color in here, but I want some hard lights in here. Okay? So I know that, okay, these areas right here, usually a little bit lighter. Ooh, yeah, look at them leaves! Look at them leaves! So nice. So nice. Oh, but we got a little sunlight on it, so we're gonna put a little bit of that, like, lighter yellow-ish. Look it! Look it! Look it! Oh, it's so hot. Look it, we got a tree, guys. We got a tree and a couple of scribbles. Oh man, look at it go. Look at how beautiful it is. Holy snapper-rollies. Oh my god, it's a tree. Holy crap, it's a tree. Then guess what? We can go back and be like, hey, wait, the light's like up here. Ooh, 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 look it. Look it. Look it. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Holy shit. It's a tree. It's a motherfucking tree. So, Keto, I don't want to listen to you talk right now. I love you, Keto, but I want music. So, anyways, literally, that's all. Like, you guys can do that by locking your layer. It's really awesome. Pudge. That is not a mushroom. You're crazy. Don't forget to use some muted colors too, guys. Like, I know we really want to be like, oh yeah, it's brown, so we go way over here onto the, words are hard. We want to go all the way over here on the contrast, not contrast inside. Okay, Mocha. You can link on there too. Like, whatever works, totally okay. Fucking trees, man. There you go. So, I mean, that's how you can really work with stuff, just by locking a layer. You can draw everything in black and white, and then you can color on top of stuff. Really cool. Okay? So that's my advice to you, at least on that. Your character as well needs a little bit of proportions. Work on your proportions, work on hair. I've said a lot of this to the other people. I would highly recommend that to you, too. Okay? Oh, I am really behind now. Okay, hold up. All right. Yomu with Bard. Okay. Line thickness is what I want to see you work on here. Okay? I want to see you, like, you've got really thick lines, but everything's the same size. Remember what I was telling Rixian earlier? Try to really make those nice clean lines where you want it, and then some thicker lines where it's a little bit closer, or maybe you've got a little bit more detail, or maybe a little closer on the shade. I do that a lot with my chibis too. Even though they're flat and I want them to be a flat character, it still helps make them pop a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? And I had a lot of fun with that. Let me see if I can pull one up here. There we go. Okay, so let's turn all of the colors off really quick so you guys can just see the line art, right? We're gonna turn the line art black again. But see how even with this flat character, and I wanted it to be flat, I made these black areas turn into something? That's what I want to see with your guys in your line art, if you're going to stick to line art. Line art is really, really important, and if you do really thin lines, when you color over top of stuff, that's one way. Or if you really want to accentuate your lines and you want to be cartoon style, do some thick lines, play with that line art, see what you guys can do with it, okay? Blood Wolf. I can definitely see you're looking at something, possibly even tracing over top of. It's a good idea to get started, but I'd highly recommend once you get a good idea of what's going on with that, move away from that, alright? You want to start learning proportions and everything on your own, okay? It's a good start though. It's definitely a good idea because hopefully while you were drawing this and you're looking at what you're drawing or you're tracing over what you're doing, you're really going, oh, okay, so I see where the hairline is and I see where the eye is in proportion to the face. And ooh, look at this jawline, this nice jawline that they made. And hey, look at how the proportions of the clothing and how that was able to make the folds and everything. Really work on that, okay? Think about that stuff when you guys are learning and you guys are tracing or doing whatever. You cannot claim that on your own, okay? Do not ever post anything that you've traced or looked at something without giving credit and saying, I looked at this or I traced at this. And make sure if it's from another artist that you have permission, because a lot of artists really don't like you doing that of their work. They're very protective of it. So always ask permission, okay? Just throwing that out there first. It is an okay way to learn because that's how we learn as babies, okay? If you've never drawn before, it's okay to learn. It's okay to learn. Just don't claim it as your own. You're old enough to do that, okay? Make sure you say, this is reference, here's what I did, blah, blah, blah. Tell people that. They're usually a lot less to be, like, angry about it, okay? That being said, it's okay to learn this way. I would really recommend start looking at this, looking at what you're doing, what they're doing, and then trying to put that into your own art, okay? So it's a good start. Ooh, Verizard with that Lulu. This is a really cute Lulu. I'm liking the proportions. I want to see a little bit more in the hands. Is she supposed to be shy right now? Because right now she looks a little angry, actually. Maybe coy? I don't know. I like the line scratching that you're doing. That really does give some enhancement to the drawing, for sure. You can actually use that to put some depth and stuff, okay? Follow the lines. Try to do this real quick. Okay, so let's say you have a cylinder, right? Here's your crazy ass cylinder. Woo! You can follow the line of the cylinder. Like, okay, obviously it'd be around like this, right? But you can follow that line to help make a shape, okay? You can do cross-hatching with this as well. But that'll really help give a little bit of extra if that's something that you want to do, okay? You don't have to. I still like what you did. I'm just giving you something of an idea to think about for later, okay? That's turned a little bit. Oh, I really honestly like what you're trying to do here. I mean, Lulu's a really simplistic character. She's got smaller body proportions compared to... I just want to see something else going on with her face and lips about what's going on. I'm a little confused with what emotion she's trying to portray, and I think that's the biggest thing that I have to critique here. Is working on that just a little bit. The eyes are good. It's just the eyebrows, and then like you have so much detail and cross-hatching everywhere, and then the face is just like it's a smiley face. You know what I mean? You're just like, oh man, look at all this awesome detail, and then you're like, ha, you know? That's so. I want to see a little bit more there. That's all. Ray. This is really cute. I like what you did with the outline here. I want to see that a little bit cleaned up. Okay, honestly, I know Photoshop does it, but unless your line art is like super perfect, which it hardly ever is, those lines end up looking really shaky and pixelated, and I kind of hate that. That's just personally me though. Okay? So, that being said, maybe try drawing it behind on your own, if that's really what you want to do and your lines aren't perfect. On top of that, the proportion just with their eyes feeling really weird. I've also, personally, I've never liked seeing this like faded version underneath the hair. Kind of bothers me. That's just me though. Hang on 1 second, guys. I need to be interrupted for just a moment. Alright, sorry. Mom was offering me food. Anyway. Like, I know you're trying to go for chibi, but chibi still does have a proportion that you need to keep to it. And that's where the eye's a little too big, and me being able to see all that behind the head, like, her eye is literally connecting into her ear and stuff like that. It is really cute, though. Don't get me wrong. It is really cute. I just want to see that still in proportion on her face a little bit better. Because it looks like you drew everything knowing what you wanted without actually putting it where you needed to put it. You know what I mean? So fix that up a little bit. The hand's really cute. It's simplistic. I like it. I like all the simplicity going on here. I just want to see it pushed into proportion just a little bit more. And I think that would be really, really, really adorable. And then try also not drawing stuff under the eye. Make sure that the hair is either going to fit where you want it to. Like brush. It's kind of like when you're getting ready for a photo shoot, right? If you guys have ever gotten ready for a photo shoot or like being, you know, when you go take family pictures, right? Try pushing your hair to the side, you know, or you comb your hair and you're trying to look good and you're like, okay, so I want people to see my eye, or I don't want them to see my eye right here. I'm gonna cover it like this because that's the way my hairstyle is gonna be. Think about that. Think about that even in your art. Don't try to draw it underneath all the time. Try to actually think what it's gonna look like without it. That's just personally me, though. I know some people like the style. I personally am not a huge fan of it because I find it very odd. But I've seen some people pull it off really nicely too. You're really close on that if you want to keep that style. If you're going to, though, make sure everything's in proportion. That's all. Alright, Yomu.
For great science.
Okay. For this, I'd have to say my biggest issue is your boobs. Boobity boobies don't work like that. So, like, your face, your nose, everything else is decently in proportion. You're trying to go for your own style, so it takes some time on that. Same, but like from here, from the neck down, you kind of forgot what you were doing. It's like you're trying to fit everything into there, and you weren't really sure what to do. Think about proportions, okay? You have to plan everything out. Even if you're gonna crop it, you have to plan everything out, okay? So, and yes, hi Kobold, what's up? Guys, I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep up with chat and the critique area at the same time. It's a little hard for me to do. Sure, Kobold, of course. If you want. I mean, Kobold's, like, fucking amazing, though, so... But, okay, so try to really quickly think about your proportions and stuff, okay? Because currently your shoulders are just, like, rounded. And that's not quite how shoulders work, right? So think about the shoulders, okay? Think about your face, shoulders, and then think about how them boobies are, okay? So I usually just kind of go with like a quick shape, but I mean, if she's gonna have boobs, which happen, right? And she's got, say, I mean, this is really weird to think about, but boobs are supposed to hang, okay? Unless you got itty bitty boobies, they gonna hang. And even itty bitty boobies, they hang a little bit. Okay, they have weight to them. So first and foremost, think of a ball in like a sock. Okay, and think about how that's gonna pull down on there. Now give it a little bit more because you've got like you have muscle and stuff in there too. So it's gonna come up a little bit more depending on how heavy they are as well. And then to think about, you also have to think about the bra. Is it a push-up bra? What's it gonna do? You actually have to research this kind of stuff. If you're not a female and you're not sure how those work, you gotta look into it, okay? Like, I know this sounds really awkward to think about, guys, but it is something you do have to think about if that is something that you want to do, okay? So, here's your boob. You've got kind of like whatever bra that she's gonna have on. It's a little bit of a push-up, so it's going to keep the shape up a little bit more. And they're not gonna be like perfect torpedoes either, okay? Like, that's not quite how this works either. Unless you've got, like I said, like the super, like, bombshell push-up bra by Victoria's Secret or something like that. I am not endorsed by Victoria's Secret. But, you know, think about your ribcage and stuff still. Even if you're gonna cut all this up, you still have to kind of think about it. And then you have to think about how it actually fits inside of a shirt, too. If you have a button-up shirt like she's got, you ain't gonna see the underside of these boobies at all. What's gonna happen is she's got... Alright, so she's got this. She's got her tie, right? And you know what's gonna happen here? All this detail going away. You're basically going, oops, okay, well, I got a button-up And what's gonna happen here is you're gonna have the shirt kind of hang off a little bit. Maybe you can give a little bit more right here. And granted, this is really quick kind of stuff, but that's technically how the shirt's actually gonna show up. Unless you're trying to hit a fetish or something like that. It depends on what style you're trying to hit. If you're trying to go for what most anime tries to do, and they really like to show the underboob, even though your underboob's not gonna show. Like, guys, look. Okay, I know this is weird, but look, my shirt. What do you see? You don't see my underboob at all. Like, I would have to push my shirt up like this to give you that, and that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen, okay? It doesn't happen. You guys, remember,
science.
a body's a body. It doesn't matter, okay? So, I'm really taking this out as an actual class, okay? You don't get this under, like, line here. That doesn't happen. You have to actually go in and just think about, like, the shirt just kind of does that. Like, I have a little bit, I don't even actually have a line under my shirt. It just kind of all goes into itself. Okay? Yeah, I would have to, unless it's, like, latex or something. It doesn't happen like that. So that's kind of a thing. Okay?
For great science.
Just think about that. Look at real life, see how it works. Okay? Let's see here. Mocha! Mocha's amazing too. Alright, Mocha. Your proportions are actually really awesome. What I'm seeing here is actually your shoulder and the back of her, I'm gonna have to copy this. Her rib cage and her back is a little bit too much. For her petite size. Her shoulder is too small. Her hand's in a decent proportion size. And her hand right here too. Yeah, it's really just that shoulder. It's just that shoulder that I'm having a minor issue with. But it's a pretty quick fix. I think it's not going to be too bad of a fix, honestly. Let's get that in here. Hold up. Let's get this in here. Okay, so red line time. Impulse, please. Okay.